All right. Time for another open court discussion in the counselor's corner. I'm your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the controversial counselor. Joining me is my co-host, the big bad wolf, Herb Lewis.
We do
Oh,
warn you tonight. It's gonna be some sensitive stuff. So if you're the sensitive type, please log off. You've been warned.
wow. That was a growl right there. He ready. So who knows who will be joining the panel? You will just have to wait and see. This past Monday, we did not have a broadcast, and if you have not checked out the broadcast 2 weeks ago, Rites of Passage from Girl to Womanhood, shame on you. You missed a great one. Okay, moving on to tonight, November 13th. We will be discussing why some women went through the 304 phase. And if you don't know what that is, well, I can say it. The whole phase. And many people may not have knew what it was, but it's pretty much back in the days when you would have your cell phone and you would type in stuff and you had to figure out the little codes. Just turn it upside down and look at it. But if you want to ask what is 304, figure it out. But it is in Charleston, West Virginia. I will give you two reasons to get your thoughts flowing. Being surrounded by so many people, especially if you attended college, freedom, availability. There's so much attention when you're at on a college campus. Number two, you may have learned a lot about yourself and your preference. Okay, I hope that gained your attention, and this should be another great discussion. Please like and share our video, and don't forget to tell someone to subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor, where Raw Emotions is brought out each broadcast. We're sitting on 759 subs, a slow grind, but a great one. Come on, folks, let's keep pushing toward 800. And by the way, happy belated Veterans Day, everyone. And here you have it. But before I shout out, pass it on over to Herb, I got a couple shout outs that I want to do. Shout out to Busy Bee Brian Archie for becoming city councilman elect. He was on the show a couple months ago, and yeah, he did it. He pulled it off. Busy Bee, proud of you, little brother. So he'll be marching on, and happy birthday to Busy Bee. Just turned 50, so what a great year so far for him. So he got some work to do in Niagara Falls, and I think he's gonna put his best foot forward and keep pushing forward. So, and I look forward to reading and getting updated on some of the things that he has going on. So shout out to Brian. Also, shout out. There's a new sheriff in town in Buffalo, and excuse my language. It ain't the fucking Buffalo Bills. They trash. It's the Buffalo Extreme. The new ABA basketball team that's now 4-0. Last week, after the first week, they were ranked 18th in the nation. Now they done creeped up to number 4 in the nation. So I didn't realize ABA basketball was such a big circuit all over the country that it's like 167 teams. And Buffalo is number 4. And Binghamton is number 3. And they will be facing each other January 13th in Binghamton. So I have a special following for that team because my nephew is on there, and he's like the second leading scorer, if not the first. He just dropped 34 yesterday, and they beat a team by over 100 points. So shout out to you,
Oh,
King Karan. Keep hooping, keep grinding, keep doing what you're doing, and you just never know where this can lead you. I know you got some opportunities possibly to go overseas, so just keep doing what you're doing. Keep your head up. Keep working hard. And y'all ranked number 4, so some notoriety gonna come your way. Because there's some ballers all over the country trying to get on that circuit, still trying to make it. So they putting everything out there, but decline from 18 to 4. I'm definitely gonna try to be at that matchup against Binghamton, January 13th. And that's if, who knows, by that time they both might be 1 and 2 if neither one of them fall off. But I don't think Buffalo trying to fall off because they got that energy. They're trying to finish up what the Bills can't do, basically. Bring a championship team to that area, because Buffalo, it's done. Herb may disagree. It's pretty much done. From here on out, every year be 9-8, 9-8, 10-6, and all that. They didn't have that window, and it's about to close real soon. Just don't have it. Hold on before you get going.
No, go ahead.
And my last thing is, unfortunately, y'all know the beauty salon has been shut down indefinitely. So that's been interesting. Last week, the beauty salon that I illegally have in my office every day, that's been shut down. We got raided on by the AP. Was waiting for them to come out the one day and said, go to my office immediately. And it was shut down after that. So, but I kept telling them, whatever, the problem with some of the young people, we understand, well, this is a comment, but I'm going to keep going. We understand the game, and you keep telling them, like, listen, y'all making the spot too hot. Y'all got, you got to chill. You can't be coming up here bringing 6-7 people deep, whatever. You got to keep it on the low. Nah, they just got reckless, and then it got shut down. And I'm like, and you got to realize who the teachers that you not showing up on time to, because some teachers, they get on the walkie or they put an APA out on you by email, but they didn't listen. So now, yeah, I can have y'all here however y'all want it. I tried to help, but y'all didn't listen. So that's that. So your guest, Miss Anita, is on the Android Chrome, which has a bug that causes echo. Google is working to fix it for now. Please ask your guests to wear headphones to avoid echo or use a different browser. We also informed your guests. Damn, they tightened it up. I ain't never seen no message like that. Anita, get your shit right before you come on here. Get your stuff
she
right.
Probably doesn't have earphones.
I don't want to hear no echoing. So you gonna have to take that up with Google. All right, Herb, what's going on, man? I went on for a little bit, but I had to give them shout outs.
I'm going to follow in your footsteps, but I'm getting ready to burn the ears of some citizens of this dear city we call Niagara Falls. As Dave has announced, Brian Archer's ascension to council member of the city of Niagara Falls. Congratulations to him. I'm going to address something that's going to burn some asses, and it needs to. It's not often that we actually have a chance as citizens of this city to put in an individual, regardless of how you like or dislike him, that is intimately familiar with the violence in this city. We have people, let me rephrase that. We have Black people who are concerned about the criminal element in this city. And you had a chance to elect a former deputy chief of police to the highest position in this city that controls, who sits as the captain of police. You were derelict in your duty to elect that man. He lost by 200 votes. So it's a lot of you lazy, apathetic, criminal-loving bastards out there who didn't put him in that position. So when shit hits the fan this coming summer, I don't want to hear about anybody screaming about the police ain't doing nothing to help solve these crimes. You have the opportunity to go to the ballot box, put this man in a position so something could be done. by a person that looks like you. You're always crying about white supremacy, the white man this and white man that, and you won't look in the motherfucking mirror. Yes, I'm talking about you if you didn't vote for him or if you voted for somebody else. I'm not against Demetrius Nix. I'm not against anybody. I'm for the city. And you didn't do what you could have done for the city. I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Now I'm gonna get back to the Bills. They looking rough, man. I don't know what to say. I was about as concerned about them as I was my Cowboys, but my Cowboys got an elixir yesterday in the form of the Giants. So I don't know what to say about Buffalo, man. That defense is they coming through like Con Edison. They shutting shit down. Offense ain't coming with them, so I don't know what to make of them. But my boys are doing all right. I'm setting my sights on getting to Cleveland for my birthday to taking the game there, and we'll see what happens the week after. I was supposed to get together with some of my family, and we were gonna go down to the Ralph or what Highmark or whatever they're calling it now and check out the game. But we'll see. You know, that some of that stuff is still on the boilerplate. We'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, I'm just not to make this a sports broadcast. I'm just a firm believer that you have a window of opportunity at a certain time, and if you don't do it, or if you don't get it done when you could get it done, other teams get better. And we got some people. They coming fast, like the Texans and all of that stuff. They coming hard. I mean, the Jags took an L yesterday, but they all coming. So I think Buffalo. I don't know. I was pulling for y'all. But when y'all got your ass whipped in your backyard last year when it was snow by Cincinnati, that said a lot. So that's that. New sheriff in town, and that's the Buffalo Extreme 4-0 semi-professional basketball team. Check them out. They play in West Seneca at the Exogen Gym, and hopefully, who knows, maybe they'll get into a bigger facility once the people say, hey, man, we want to roll with a winner. Yeah, I'm taking my shots at the Bills. Because surprisingly, my Steelers is 6-3, but I don't got no expectations for them. But they 6-3 because Mike Tomlin is the coach, and he gonna always try to keep them in the game. They always gonna, what is it, about 17, 18 years in a row winning seasons. So that's what he do. They play. All right, good people. So now on to this subject: why some women went through the whole phase. I know I know it was a video with some woman who had put this out. I mean, it wasn't too long ago. I don't even think I even clicked on it. I read some of the comments, and so talk to me about what's your overall thought process in this whole topic.
Well, believe it or not, this actually stems from the female rite of passage. And one of the things we talked about with the vehicle was freedom. And you mentioned at the top of the show as one of the things when women get the opportunity to express that freedom. What does that freedom look like? Now, you posted a snippet in the Counselor's Corner, a 2-minute video where this was discussed, and there was some consternation about it. And what people who have never walked in that vein of life fail to realize is that the average age, and I looked this up online, of the American female losing her virginity, regardless of her ethnicity or culture, is 17, which coincides about the year most people graduate high school, seniors, and go off on to college or military or get into the world and start engaging in adult behavior. Now, depending on where you live, that age can drop. I'll use myself for example. I live in a border city, a world famous border city, where the drinking age in Canada is 19. We know what Americans do at 18, 19, and 20 in terms of underage drinking. So what do you think is going on in Canada? Conversely, what do you think is going on in Mexico when the legal drinking age is 18, from what I was told earlier in the discussion with the young woman in the store? So we're going to drop those two things in there: female empowerment, male influence, the female sex symbol, and the removal of the stigma from being a promiscuous woman. Used to be that that was frowned upon. That is no longer, and I'm going to start in reverse order. Yeah, Tice. So we look at that. You know, you have the rise of OnlyFans. You have the rise of a lot of these sites where women can sell sex. So the stigma not only has been removed, it's been obliterated to where you're made fun of if you think that a female using OnlyFans is doing something wrong, is doing something immoral. After all, prostitution is the oldest profession in the world. It used to be that if a woman was a spinster, somebody that's past traditional marrying age, she hasn't had any kids. Yes, Instagram too. Thank you, Dr. Dunbar. That was one of the ways she could make a living without a man, and it was respected because she was considered a respectable woman, taking care of a certain segment of society. Now, whether religious types didn't like it or whatever the case was, that was how it went. But also, that was carried out in a specific part of town, hence the rise of the red light districts, pardon me. So now let's get back to what I said in terms of number one, female sex symbols. And I'll look this up historically. I have about 30 names. I'm going to mention some that are more familiar to the listening audience. And I'm going to ask you, were you heard of some of these people before? Selma Hayek, Bo Derek, Jamie Lee Curtis, Ashley Judd, Sharon Stone, Pamela Anderson, Madonna, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Jacqueline Smith, Linda Carter, Raquel Welch, Elizabeth Montgomery, Eartha Kitt, Barbara Eden, Sophia Loren. And the number one, as voted by a lot of people, female sex symbol of the 1960s and 70s, even though she wasn't around that long, was Marilyn Monroe. These are the female sex symbols. And some people, not knowing their ethnicities, will say, well, those are all Caucasian women, with the exception of Eartha Kitt and Selma Hayek and Catherine Zeta-Jones. You would be incorrect. And not to get into this aspect of it, but this is how the whitewashing in Hollywood occurred. Linda Carter is actually Hispanic. I didn't know that till I read her bio, and I was floored when I heard it. But all of these women were in primetime television. So you had a group of women who wanted to express themselves sexually, but they couldn't. Call it repressed, call it suppressed, call it forced to be something that they didn't want to be. So you have a group of these women who watch these women in primetime television tell their daughters, hey, look, you don't have to grow up like I do. You can be a wife if you want to go out and live your life and have sex with as many men as you want to. You can do that. No matter how it might sound to somebody, how offensive it might be. We had the rise of birth control, which gave women reproductive choice. Woodstock, anyone? Woodstock, the 1960s, was branded as a decade of free love. Woodstock. 350,000 people out there doing who knows what, who knows who. Yeah, birth control. Well, the pill specifically, the synthetic birth control pill was number one. Well, I'm not even talking about condoms because condoms were the male's preview of birth control. The pill was the female's preview of birth control. So not only did it give them the ability to choose whether to be reproductive, it allowed them to choose who to be reproductive with. And women are still doing this today. And this is one of the things that we're talking about. You have women throughout college who will go through a number of men. And this is something that Kevin Samuels talked about, the difference between certain cultures. And around their junior and senior years, they tighten up. They go find a reputable man, they turn into that reputable woman, and they run off on down the path of matrimony and happiness, kids, family, and they go live their lives. So the average age of first sex, 17 for women. The average age of first kid for U.S. women is 27. The average age for marriage is 29. And there was something that I never even considered in terms of what might lead to sex earlier was smoking. Never considered that. Never. And when I read that, I was like, that's interesting as hell, because that's considered adult behavior. So one would assume that if somebody's smoking, they're an adult engaging in adult behavior. See, when I talked about this stuff last time, people got a bunch in their panties because they don't do the research. So go ahead, Dave.
I wonder, when you said the average age is 17, I wonder how old was these guys. I wonder if they were 17, 18, or were they like 25, 26?
Same age.
Older guys, same age.
Same age. The average age for a male was almost about 18. So everybody was engaged with their age cohort, if you will. So I know the story of people talking about older men seeking younger women. Yes, but that is the minority of what we call first sexual contact. I want people to understand when I say first sexual contact, I'm talking about the loss of virginity. So everybody generally hangs out with their age demographic. It's rare that you see people not until you get into corporate America, where you have some interns coming in with people who have been with a company 15, 20 years. And corporate America, despite what we think, it being a conglomerate that controls everything, it controls a segment. You have some aspects of corporate America where, take myself for example, I'm 51. I have people there that are going to Niagara University that are in their early 20s. That's about the only time you're going to have overlap of people from different generations working with each other. And I'm not interested in the things that they're interested in. I'm not doing the things that they're doing. I work nights, they work days. Our life paths don't even cross. I really say hi or bye to them. I might ask them a question about this. We might get into a discussion about that, but that's it. So the overblown nonsense of, men chasing women that are that much younger, it's overblown. Are there men that want younger women? Yes. And that same thing holds true for a lot of older women. They don't want to deal with a certain segment of women, a certain segment of men, because they think the men are impotent, bad health, they're money dependent, whatever the case. You can throw it all out there and it all hits the fan. And in the end, it washes out.
You're kind of losing me. You're kind of.
Go ahead.
What's up? Good evening to you both. Happy Monday.
What's going on?
Yes.
Bring back the connection when you're naming all the the starlets of the 70s and such, and that was some good information. No, bring that home a bit more. But it was something. I agree with everything you said, but you lost me when you said that most women, when they're younger, it tends to be someone within the, you didn't say it like this, but it's someone within their age bracket. And I have some difference of opinion on that, but maybe you got more information than me.
It's not my opinion.
Okay, what I'm saying, I would love to hear more of the data. That's what I'm saying,
It came from the website. Give me a moment.
Well,
the American Virgin.
okay,
Yeah.
I trust your source. I'm just saying, okay, from what I think, and I don't have the data in front of me, but I'm pretty versed in this. It's usually going to be somebody 2 to 3 years older with them. And we've all had to, back in the days, the chicks with the dudes with the cars and all that stuff,
That's what
where
I was going with. That's what I was going with. The older guys scooping up them 17-year-olds.
exactly. I mean, if you want to expound on this, I got to turn this air on 1 second. So if you want to expound on it a little bit more, but I would love for Herb to wrap that. I mean, I get your point. I wanted to add something about the whole sexual thing, but I'll let you brothers roll.
Well, no.
And no, the reason I was,
go ahead, Dave.
I said the reason why I said, and I'm just thinking about just my view or what I've seen that, and, Niagara Falls is a small area, so but that's all I could. That's the only reference I can go by, as far as what I saw. And a lot of times, these younger girls got scooped up by the older heads, whether they were, most of them out in the streets hustling. But then you had some that worked, had decent jobs, had vehicles and stuff like that, and that was one of the ways that they would be able to pull. Luckily I had the luxury of being on a college campus, so you had more options. But if you were a guy who didn't go to college and you wasn't a star athlete or something, you was just like a regular plain Jane or whatever, plain James, whatever, it might have been hard for you to pull some of the better looking girls growing up. So a lot of those guys had 2, 3 on their side. They had it all. And you would just have to be in an environment that they're not there, and that's where you can maybe come up on. But other than that, most of it was older guys pulling.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a democratic process by any means. And if anything, it's the first time a guy learns this shit ain't fair.
Let's look at it like this. Let's not look at Black America. Let's look at all of America. And I think that's where you gentlemen might be losing your focus at.
I'm only going to look at the perspective that I saw, because I don't know what the hell went on in there.
I think what you said is very interesting, because I can speak on this a little bit more. So I went to a Catholic school, and it was a school that the point is that I got to see both sides, right? Or all sides. And let me go back first. Forget that. I don't want to make this about me. I think you were really making a good point, but you could have really. I'm not deducting you by any means, but I'm just adding on to your point. Man. When you're landing the plane, this stuff goes back further than what you were speaking of. Although those starlets were, you forgot Catherine Bach also. That's AKA Daisy Duke. Got to give her a shout out. When you look at the sexual revolution, we are still dealing with that shit right now. Okay.
Yep. Now,
what I think is happening is that my man Constable. Yeah, what up, Constable? Yes, so, anyways, salute, Constable. So, so what I was gonna just simply say was, I think it's so accelerated right now that you literally got the 25 to 30-year-olds who are I don't know if I'm hearing some background or whatever, but the 25 and 30-year-old women who look like they've been around the block a little too many times. It's gotten that accelerated in a sense, I'm just saying that a lot of this was put into, when I say the culture, I mean mass culture. I don't just mean black, white, I mean mass culture. But like I remember even the 90s, and shout out to all the rainbow people out there. I remember vividly seeing how that was being pushed through with women. or what have you, right? Now we know those things went on privately or whatever, but to whereas they publicly want to showcase this, this is during the Girls Gone Wild thing, coming up. So
Yep.
I mean, and then also I would just say this: I'm glad we got a female on the panel who can give her thoughts on this. And this conversation is so layered, but I'll just say this: the difference between women and men, and I'm speaking generally, okay, is women tend to want to be hive-minded. They don't want to be they don't want to be ostracized from the group or look like that. Whereas men, I'm not saying that men don't have a sense of hive mind, but men, hey, I don't care. I have to roll with the group like that. So women can get easily more sucked into that. And we know you're different, and we get it. I'm just saying in general, this is why we got so much copycats and all that. One person, tweets. One person twerks on the table. You're going to get 3 more to do it because they don't want to be outdone or they want some of that attention. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm going to this towards it. Number one, this is where men fuck up. Men act like women don't have a sexual appetite too.
I'm never would disagree with that.
That's a good point.
That's number 2. Ask most boys honestly. It was the girls who were more aggressive their first sexual experience. Many of times it was the girls.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know about that.
What we tend to put things on is that we tend to put a lot of emphasis on what the boys are trying to do instead of actually legitimizing that, oh, these girls want it just as bad as the boys, but we don't want to say that. And there's a big tendency of like pushing the blame on men, like greater society as well, is that girls, they may like guys who drive because there's a benefit. They can go from to to fro. But trust me, if you look good and you're the same age or you're 2 years younger, you still getting it in too. So I've seen it with myself and many of the students that I coach and teach. And I just ask them questions. And I think that, a lot of times we break away from that stereotype of, oh, these boys are trying to get in your pants, when a lot of times the girls will tell you, I knew exactly what I was doing and I wanted it.
Just to build on what you just said, just very briefly, I mean, the term fast ass girls is age old expression. It's probably 40 or 50 years old,
Yes, sir. Yes,
so, I mean, I definitely get that. Now, I don't know if the term is plausible deniability or I'm forgetting, it's in my head, but it's that whole they'll be in a situation or whatever and act like they weren't in it when they wanted to be in it. You know what I'm saying? So, and they can say, oh no, it was just the drinks that made me do that or whatever, but if somebody else want to pick up the mic, they can. I got to write something down.
He forced me to do it, but every woman will tell you when you get comfortable enough and make it seem like you're not judging.
Can you say that again?
You said make it seem.
You make it seem like you're not judging, but motherfucker, you're judging.
Well, that's what I meant by point 4 with the removal of the stigma. See, when you take that stigma away from sex, now women become more liberated, and it's not necessarily that they're liberated to have sex. They're liberated from the stigma of being sexually active more so than the generations past. You mentioned Girls Gone Wild. Girls Gone Wild is almost 40 years, about 30 years old, if my memory serves me correct.
About 30 years ago.
That's hard to believe, right?
Yeah.
It's old.
It's about 30
Yes,
years
it really is. So when you look at Girls Gone Wild, what was the number one demographic that was featured on there?
What do you
Caucasian
mean?
women.
White girls.
Caucasian women.
Say it, white girls.
College age white Midwesterners.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this is why I talked about the average age being 17 and just not to look at Black America and urban America, because most of this country comprises is rural. Those are the people who are pushing the agenda. We go back and we look at let's look at music now. Let's look at the infusion of rap into the culture. Because we already know what R&B did. R&B got the ball rolling. Rap gave it an injection that is still prevalent to this day. We heard NWA talking about hoes ain't shit but bitches and tricks. Suck on the nut and lick the dick. And ain't no fun if my homies can't have none. All of that stuff put into the culture became mainstream. We could talk about Boy George and Culture Club, and you mentioned that, Sir Tice, about the third party, shall we say, so we don't get dinged by YouTube. And their infusion into it. We go out to San Francisco, the Haight-Ashbury district, and look at that infusion as well. And you can go down to New York City and certain segments there, and it's prevalent.
Yeah,
So
to be
the longer-
specific though, just to be specific, I was talking about, the two girls making out type of thing,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
dudes egging it on type of shit. That's what I was kind of referring to.
Well, you got to remember that a lot of people, for some reason, even to this day, are shocked about female sexuality.
Mhm.
I'm not. I'm like, look, I'm capable of being an honest guy, listening to a female and be like, well, I've been with, because you got to remember, females are allowed to do things sexually that men traditionally cannot.
Correct.
Like what?
Come back from a lesbian relationship and be straight. Nobody will ever challenge it.
Nope.
A man can barely cry at a funeral, and people will call him suspect.
Oh shit!
Yeah, go get the black mouse. Go get the damn black mouse. But anyway, but the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of stigma that women were under for years because, you couldn't. There wasn't any birth control or any DNA testing where you didn't know if that child was yours or not.
Right.
So you had to put the control of who was the father. And there were many a time she would pick the best possible person to say, yeah, that guy is the father. Yeah. Why? Why is he the father? He's the father because he got the most resources.
Agree.
Remember the old saying, mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
Yeah. No, you just said something, Constable, that reminded me of it's actually a damn good movie. I haven't seen it in years, but it was called The Last American Virgin. How coincidental that this is the topic. I don't know if anybody remembers that movie, but chick gets knocked up by the so-called bad boy. The one dude basically is the Captain Save throughout the whole movie, taking her to the clinic and all that other kind of stuff, And then at the very end, he thinks he's, mind you, playing the straight up stepdaddy before the kid is even born. I think the kid gets born. I can't remember, but they're all at a party. He walks into the kitchen. He sees her tongue locked with the dude who knocked her up, who left her initially. And I bring that up because when now looking at it from the archetypes, when you're younger, you're looking at this, why would she see this in this guy or whatever? But it's that whole bad boy argument or whatever. Maybe I could use a better explanation describing them, but let's just say he wasn't the responsible guy who she chose and why she chose him. A lot of the females liked him also too. Things like that. I was trying to land this plane and it just slipped my mind here because I'm trying to do two tasks at once. So somebody else feel free to pick it up. I'm sure I'll
Anita, what's your thoughts on all this?
Oh boy, it's a lot. Where do I even begin?
Jump in the pool.
First of all,
okay.
Huh?
I was just saying you can jump in the deep end or take the stairs into the shallow end. Your choice.
First of all, I don't know why this is a hot topic. Like this other gentleman said, women have sexual appetites too. So why it's a double standard that women would be called XYZ if we're having a lot of sex, and then men would be like guys, they would be giving each other high fives about it. No.
Well,
you don't really buy that.
That ain't
you don't
fair.
really buy.
That's the male privilege. Hold on, y'all asked me to speak, and I'm speaking now. that's the male privilege. That is not right. It's a double standard. As a matter of fact, when I was 18, I graduated high school at 17. When I was 18, I really actually considered being a stripper in Canada. I'm like, who gives a shit? It's going to put money in my pocket. I'm going to put myself through college at Niagara University because I was too uppity to go to a community college first. And long story short, no, I didn't become a stripper. But if you guys were wondering,
I thought you did that.
I mean, for my man, I would. It ain't no
joking.
thing. For my man, I do almost anything. I mean, that's, but to sit here and say that, like, girls are 304, like, who even cares at our age what our body count is? Like, I heard that for the first time last summer. This 23-year-old dude was talking about it at the place where my ex-boyfriend worked. And I said, what are you talking about, body count? I was thinking, when I hear body count, I'm thinking, like, how many people you killed.
I was
don't
gonna say,
know.
yo, don't think about Ice-T's album.
Anybody want to take this one?
Oh, I'll do it. We have to realize.
But
we
hold
got-
on, I wasn't even done.
Go ahead. I'm
Wasn't
sorry.
even done.
Okay.
I don't think at our age, body count should even be talked about. Who gives a shit? What happened? What I did before you? Are you going to ask about details about what I did? Like kind of dates that I went on or he took me on or romantic gestures that he did? My past boyfriend? No. So who gives a shit how many guys I slept with or forgot I slept with because I was partying? Who cares?
I
If
guess
you're
one
a
of the
man that cares about that, oh fucking well.
I guess one of the things probably depends on the area you live
I'm
in
not saying I'm a
too.
304, but I had my party days. I went to college. I went to the Army. I was 18 when I lived in Germany for a couple of years. We did it up. We partied hard. So, I mean, I think it's a double standard and it's a male privilege.
Okay, I'll take it. So, all right. Well,
And you're not going to change my mind about my opinion.
I'm not trying to, but I do think it's some just like some okay, first of all, I'm not gonna even get into the body count part because that's not what's there. But for you to act like men and women are the same, yes, we're gonna be judged and evaluated differently or what have you, right? And yeah, nobody nobody, well, I won't say nobody wants the easy person or the person who's experienced. I'll say that nobody's gonna take that seriously. Now, if it's just smashing, I'm sure, who cares about that? So we gotta be more, how do I best say this? We have to not act like these are just like for likes, just for lack of a better thing saying. The second thing, I personally, and this is where probably you all disagree with me on this, and that's fine. I despise the fact that many men pay, whether that's strip clubs and damn near prostitution and that. I loathe that, but I also do recognize that there are indeed some men who can't get it, I guess, naturally, the way, that way. So you have these people you have these people who say, hey, I'm a monetize, or I'm a economically benefit from these type of guys. I sincerely believe that if it was a small force of guys, or, if it was lesser guys that do this, you wouldn't see half of the shit going on today. But I'm not going to act like that this hasn't been around. In fact, what many people don't know is that brothels, it used to be, you had to actually be, if you can believe this, and I can cite some sources in this, you had to be educated in the late 1800s, 1900s to work out in the brothels out west. And that was because they felt that those women could deal with a variety of different men. Imagine that, so there was less of a social stigma there, and some families actually encouraged their daughters to do it. Sounds crazy as hell to me, but back to this whole 304 culture, I think the problem is that now it's just too visible, too prevalent, and it's like the toothpaste is out of the tube.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine when people do things in the private or whatever. Right now, you go to the grocery store, you're gonna see some ridiculous things, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I think. It's too much. You got 13-year-olds aspiring to be 16-year-olds where their parents can legally sign off for them to get some boob implants or a BBL, for God forbid. Okay. And that's how I do think that the over sexualization of things has contributed to this. And as I said, I've seen how many tire treads, run off, and they're not even 30 who tried to live that lifestyle, So I said a lot there, but I think you guys get my general sentiment.
Yeah, and I'll follow that up, but I want to address, and I want people to understand we're not making this male versus female, even though I'm going to address what Anita said. When we look at the totality of the drivers of sex, it isn't men. Now, we tend to look at sex from a hierarchy position, meaning that those who can do, and they generally set the template of what everybody else is going to follow through with. That's how it is. That's how it's always going to be. Whether we agree with it or not, we are animals. We are driven by certain carnal pleasures, and sex is one of those.
And that's good. I would be concerned if men weren't.
Well, no, but this is my thing. Just like you said, you'll do anything for your man, but you're not married. So if you have multiple men through your life, and those have been taught, they can soil your reputation. Conversely,
I would have to say long-term relationships, serious relationships.
No, but I'm saying, even though they don't, that reputation still can be soiled by a man who's never had a part of you, just because he's displeased with the fact that he's never had a part of you. And that's where we get into a lot of this reputation being diminished by men who, and that's something that So Tice touched on, who didn't get that shot at that particular woman. We see it all the time.
True.
We see it all the time.
To me a whole bunch of times.
She's a hoe. She did this. She did that. She did this, and there are no receipts. So that's part of the reason why you get some females who are targeted, especially in isolated communities. They say, well, hell, if I'm going to be branded, then I might as well go out here and start doing it. Or you'll get the female from a small town who knows her reputation, who's been branded, and she'll move out of that small town and go to college somewhere else where nobody knows her. This is how the aspect of social media has eliminated a lot of that stuff. So now people who are in that walk of life have to be a little bit more careful. So it's not so much the body count so much as it is the reputation. Because no man, I don't care who he is, Forrest Gump, he doesn't want that woman with the reputation. She can have all the experience in the world. I guarantee you there are too many men who wouldn't line up to bed Pamela Anderson. And they know her history. I guarantee you there are too many men who wouldn't line up to bed Madonna, and we know her history. Same with Sharon Stone.
Why you keep naming these 80-year-old women?
No. No, what I'm saying is this.
Because he's almost 80.
I can get younger if I want to. Hell, we could talk about PJ Washington's baby's mother, and I forget her name right now because I don't follow them.
Brittany Renner.
Yeah.
We could talk about the Brittany Renners of the world. There'll be men that are lined up to run through her, but they're not going to wife her. So it doesn't matter the age, whether she's in her late teens, early 20s. We look at the female rap genre. They're prevalent. Adina Howard. There was the whole kerfuffle with Jill Scott. That's why I named music R&B and rap, put it on steroids, and we see what this is now. Women don't have to go through this, But as you said at the top of the show, Dave, that women like to be hive-minded. They don't want to be left out. So if they see somebody doing something, well, I can do it better. You don't have quote unquote the church girl anymore. You don't have as many women who men deem attractive, because let's face it, attractive quality is one of those things. You don't have as many women being reserved with their reputation.
So
And men, go ahead, Dave.
I was gonna say, let me ask you this. So what if it is like we said, if they start off earlier, they were in a 3 or 4 phase, but if you're a 40 something, 50-year-old man and you get with her, is that gonna bother you to the fact, say if it's in Niagara Falls that people told you like, man, you getting with her, man, back in the day she used to do this, she used to suck the chrome off a 57 Chevy and all this crap. Is that gonna impact you as a 40-something-year-old man?
That's going to depend on the man and his mental makeup and what he needs from her. He might be at a particular point in his life where he can't command anything else. So he's relegated to being with a woman like her. That gives her the power. So when we talk about pussy power, that's where it is. And you get these women who get a false sense of power, who can run and rule certain men, and they think that it's applicable to every man, until they run into that man and say, hey, listen, bitch, you can take that little dirty rotten ass pussy and run on about your business. I'm alone.
Herbert.
I said at the top of the show, this was put the kids in, and whether people to bed, we get no pun intended, we gonna get balls deep in it. Okay, so I want y'all to
Buddy's
understand.
listening over here.
Hey, buddy. Oh,
He's at the end of the bed.
But this is what it is. We want to talk about all the things that encompass why women will go down this road. She might like attention. She might like the money. She may have seen it with her mother. She may have seen it with the grandmother. Shout out to Star. Star inboxed me a detailed message that gave me some insight that I hadn't even considered, and it's from a female perspective. It's from a female perspective of somebody who grew up in that culture. See, we as men, we're not privy to certain things. And I think,
just briefly,
ahead,
stick on your path. She also could be sexually repressed also.
Yes.
Or came up in that environment. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yes. So we're not privy to certain things, and we shouldn't be. This is what the red pill has been trying to teach some men, is that we have to understand female nature. And female nature is going to drive a lot of what women do, regardless of the man that they have, the men that they seek. So if they can find a man that's willing to finance their lifestyle, even after they went through that, they gonna get him. Hook, crook, finesse, or strip, they gonna get him, because that's what they're wired to do. And men will say, well, how do you know a female has had that phase? If you get to that point in a relationship, you're gonna find out. And you're not gonna have to ask me very many questions. You're gonna say, oh shit. Yo, I've never had that done before. And all of a sudden, now the floodgates open. You say, "Oh shit!"
So
I'm in love with a stripper.
So are you gonna follow? Are you gonna follow up with that, or are you just gonna pretend like damn, this was an amazing experience, but I don't even want to ask any further questions? Like, how did you learn how to do that?
I think it goes deeper.
Yeah,
I think it goes
what
deeper.
You gonna do?
No, I think it goes deeper. You guys are in the area or the territories that I kind of want to chime in. No. I'm serious. When I say it goes deeper, like for me, there are certain portals I'm not entering. Just like certain, like what's the pituitary gland thing that people go to like South America and their third eye, ayahuasca. Okay, ayahuasca. Are y'all familiar with ayahuascas? Anyways, I'll just say this. It's something you shouldn't really play with or whatever, right? It's nothing sexual or anything. It's just something that, well, they're messing with your pituitary gland. There's certain lines that shouldn't be crossed. And this is what I was saying earlier about how sometimes you can be over sexualized early where you're going into these lines. You have the corporate chick. And I'm not saying everybody has to be prim and proper. By no means am I saying that. You have the corporate chick though, who goes to swinger parties and things like that, and it's like it's a complete mind fuck or whatever. I know, I've been to these parties. Yeah, I know. Surprise, surprise. So it's like, now me, I was like, whoa, all this, I'll be I'm comfortable with that whole vanilla thing, and if people think, I'm saying this for lack of a better term, but I think again now that whole
But
thing.
you're only into vanilla sex. Do we
Not
hear
necessarily that. I'm just saying it for lack of a better term. I'm not getting no anal probing or anything like that or whatever, that people try to, I saw a viral video floating around, and it was some dude who talks about, and he was trying to be all manly, like, yeah, nothing wrong with being pegged, whatever, long as by a lady. And I'm like, even if that's what gets you off, why are you admitting that shit on social media? There's certain things there's certain shit that you should just
you don't talk about that.
Right. Or you should keep with you and your mate or what have you. I'm not saying I'm on this vanilla. I'm just saying it's comparison to that. Hell yeah. I'm vanilla Sunday on that one, but I think, I don't want to say too much without saying too much, but it's, I do think, okay, I'll say this. I know that in certain countries they have what's called, I can't recall if it's a den auntie or something or whatever. It's something where it's a lady who shows women all about their bodies when they're 12 and 13 and 14. Okay. They really give them the whole lowdown on sex, right? Mm-hmm. And the same thing now, boys have the rites of passage, and then they have these guys, and they learn this stuff. I'm not going to say one way is the right way, but I do like that or whatever, because lots of times you have good parents with the best of intentions, but they don't really tell that to the kids because they figure they're just going to find out or whatever, right? And they're doing the kids a disservice in a sense, but, how can they teach if they don't know themselves, I'm kind of all over the place right now. I'm just saying, though, that I will go back to that overexposure of things and how some people feel that they have to suppress their surface. They have to suppress their surface sexual self, because they don't want to be deemed as a hoe. So, Nita, you can act all you want or what have you. Or I'm not saying you. Let me rephrase that. You can say all you want, but a lot of women do care that, but they really do get down behind scenes. And again, I'm perfectly fine with that. As far as just the outward 304 thing, again, I don't think it's a good move in the society we in, but we're in it. And it was something I was going to say about social media, how I think it's made it more easier.
Yes.
And people, because it's like we're desensitized to this stuff now. So it's not even a big deal, but it actually is, Did
it start with the rap videos?
No, I mentioned earlier before you joined that this was long before. This was building up long before.
Woo! I forgot to do that for in there. Hold up. Everybody on the panel to do it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Woo! You got to realize something. I'm a child of the 80s. I remember Walk This Way. I remember Guns N' Roses and shit. Welcome to the Jungle. We got fun and games. So it's not just rap music. It's culture. Yeah. It's the fact that culture made it more acceptable for this type of ideology and thought process. Shit, I mean, you got to think about it. We always had beautiful women from the dawn of time. It's just that we came a long way from Claire Huxtable to Sexy Red. What the fuck? I mean, really, think about it. One of the most beautiful women on the planet in her day didn't have to show fully clothed. Elegant. When's the last time you ever heard anybody use for modern women the word elegant? Even women haven't used the word elegant for other women nowadays.
Why not? Why is it so I mean, I don't think that's uncommon.
You just answered your own question. How many
Well,
women rather be 304s
Yeah.
than elegant?
Oh, maybe I didn't hear that part.
Like
I was gonna say,
if
I'll
women
ask.
refer to another, even women refer to another woman as elegant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Generally
do.
in America,
Because they're in so much competition with each other, but they don't
Yeah.
want to say it.
I guess it depends on the age and your emotional intelligence.
well, let's look at it like this.
I like to
Look at it like
throw.
this, Anita.
Let me throw something out here.
Okay.
It was something that Constable just said that triggered me again, what have you. But I'll throw it out. Do you think that also we're in an era where men have more accessibility to these type of women versus back in the day? You weren't looking at forget social media. You know, you just saw them on TV
Right.
or the Sears catalog.
Correct.
You know, if you lived in a small town, you weren't seeing these kind of women. Do you think that it's a case of too much access, or anybody can pick that one up?
Well, I always said like
Yeah,
I'm
it's too
glad
much.
I'm glad that in college we didn't have in the, the 80s in the early 90s that we didn't have cell phones and all that stuff in the co-ed dorms, because I don't even know what the hell would have happened.
I tell you what happened with co-ed dorms. We had them at Ball State.
Yeah, I had them. We didn't have them at Niagara University until I left. That it was alternate floors, girls, boys, and all that stuff. We had to sneak into the dorms and do that, and had to be out of there by 11, or stay overnight and wait till the RA fall asleep and then dip out, or whatever the case is. But I just can imagine if we had the technology that these kids have, because they work the circuit at the middle school level. I'm about to go get a pass from the teacher. I'm about to get a pass. You get a pass, and then they out doing some shit in the cut at 12, 13 years old.
Let me get back to what Sir Tyson was saying and follow that up so Anita can get a better grasp of what he was talking about. No. For let's take Hollywood and set that aside for a moment. American women, in terms of behavior, generally got their cues from the first lady. This is why
Wait, say that again.
Let's take Hollywood and set that aside, pop culture. American women, for the most part, got their behavioral cues from the first lady. This is why they were always groomed well. You look at what Michelle Obama is. Let's go back to Jacqueline Kennedy, Jacqueline Onassis Kennedy. She was inundated with, what do you do for your kids? Even though her husband, now we understand, was quite the man about ladies, she never let on once that there were problems. She was the quintessential, considered to be perfect in terms of her behavior, because Marilyn Monroe was the physical archetype. She's the 36, 24, 36 model that women aspired to be today. The brick house thing, but she was considered to be too heavy in her time. All of a sudden now she's the gold standard. And you look at a lot of women's profiles. What is that one phrase they always tout around that Marilyn Monroe says? If you can't like me at my best, you don't deserve. If you can't like me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
That's right.
That's a 304 mantra. So be careful how you use that, because Marilyn Monroe died alone.
How is it a 304 mantra?
Because what was Marilyn Monroe considered?
Just because somebody says that doesn't mean.
What was she
If
considered?
I say that to you, Herbert, you know, me looking like I do right now, if you can't handle looking at me right now, you don't deserve to be looking at me when I'm all done up.
But you still haven't answered the question. What was she
Come on,
considered?
David.
What was
you
she
going with? That's
what
what
was
you're
she
going with.
considered, though? What was Marilyn Monroe considered?
A sex symbol?
She was considered a loose woman.
A loose woman?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
But
I
that's
just-
why I said be careful how you use the mantra. A lot of people will use adages and euphemisms and they don't understand where they originated from or who said them.
You know what? You know what I got to say about that? I don't give a fuck.
And that's the
Because
Another
Oh.
304 axiom.
I'm just throwing that out there. No, really, I don't care. And the reason why I don't care where the phrase came from is because if I say that to somebody, it doesn't mean like I'm a 304 or just because I'm saying something that I believe is true. That
Yes, but
doesn't
you
make
know-
sense, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks as long as me and the other person have that understanding and communication of what I mean when
Let me
I
ask you-
say that.
Let me ask you this question then.
You asking too many questions right now.
Socratic method. Would you walk around in public looking less than your optimal, most attractiveness and expect to gain a top tier man according to what your tier is?
And expect what?
Expect to get a top tier man according to what your top tier man looks like.
If I'm looking for a man
Yes. Whatever
and
the
I'm
case is.
going to a certain place where there's my choice of men,
Mhm.
I'm not going to go out looking like I just rolled out of bed. No.
Then it matters.
But hold on. But if I'm already dating somebody,
No. We're talking about you looking. Don't add anything in there.
I answered your question and then now I'm saying something else.
That's
If
fair.
I'm already dating somebody or talking to somebody and he's like has a problem, I'm going to say I'll take you as you are. Take me as I am in my natural state because first of all, I don't wear a lot of makeup. I'm pretty conservative, pretty natural. So if you don't like this, then I'm not for you. And that's fine with me. Because for everybody that's not for me, there's 10 more that are for me. So it doesn't play on me like that. But sometimes when I don't feel good or, I have to have something done with my heart or some kind of procedure at the VA and I don't feel good, I will go to the store looking, raggedy tore down if I need something like Tylenol or, that time of the month kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it is what it is. Not everybody looks good 100% of the time. And you have to accept that in somebody.
You know what?
I keep it real. If you like me, you like me 100% of the time, whether I look good, bad, whether, it's not all about looks.
Yes, you do care about your appearance when you
I
want to impress someone. Okay.
Yeah, no, I was going to go different.
I'm saying you already answered it.
Hold on. I wasn't saying when I want to impress somebody. I'm saying, okay, so if I'm single and I'm going out to the bar to look for that attention or a potential, somebody, I don't go to the bar just to, hang out and see how many guys will buy me a drink. I think that's very tacky and not classy. First of all, let me make that point because I know that point is coming up somewhere.
No.
Well, women already said on here that they don't dress for men. They do it for themselves. I'm just throwing it in there. I'm gonna say something.
Okay, I'll let you say something.
No, that's already been a known fact in Counselor's Corner on here. We don't dress for man. We we do it for ourselves. I'm like, really? Like that don't even make no damn sense. Like,
well, there's a couple versions of that. from my perspective, nobody has to agree with my opinion. I don't care. It's my opinion. When I'm feeling good and motivated and I just want to go out, yeah, I'm dressing for myself. I'm dressing.
Stay your ass home then. The fuck?
Huh?
I said, stay your ass home. What the hell?
I'm saying when I'm going out and I want to look, it's the thing when you look good, you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I might be dressing for myself to feel attractive.
So,
I look in the
so,
mirror, I don't want to go out. You get those,
so
you get those nights where you want to
yeah.
wear your best hat and your glasses that you think are the sexiest, and you want to go out on the town with your homeboys and just, chill. Women do the same thing.
But that's a mindset on a regular basis. Y'all try to act like, oh my ass, take these pictures on my ass look big in these jeans, but I'm going out for myself because I like the way these jeans fit, but I'm not trying to appeal to a man.
Well, if I want to look sexy for myself and I look in the mirror and I buy a new outfit, yeah. But if
It's for
I'm going
yourself.
out, what in the hell was that? It didn't look good. Sir Tice.
What?
You'll see it in the replay.
I'm
Anyway, if I'm going out, usually I go out by myself anyway because I want to go where I want to go, leave when I want to leave, and that's that. Women dress for other women. Sometimes that's true. I get
So
that.
what y'all dressing for y'all competition?
I mean, it depends. I guess for me personally, it depends on what kind of mood I'm in. If I don't care, then I compliment women all the time. I'm like, "Oh, your hair looks cute. Where'd you get that shirt? I like your shoes, whatever." That's a lot of the things that women don't do for other women that they should do.
Hold on,
I'm not gonna knock her. I'm not gonna knock her for the whole vanity thing. That's a woman thing,
Yeah.
So, but go ahead. You're gonna say something.
Why do other women not compliment other women as much as they used to? In your opinion,
Because they have inferiority issues,
stemming from what?
low self-esteem.
Stemming from what?
Men.
There's a bottom. I want to see if you get to it.
Men.
So the age-old adage that we don't dress for men is actually at the underlying reason of why women dress. I just wanted you to say that.
No, you twisted around my words.
I didn't twist anything. I just asked questions.
Okay, but your conclusion was wrong.
So this 304 thing, it just made me think.
So,
go ahead. I know. Well, I won't say I know her. She's not a bad looking young. I'll give her that, but she's in her. She's closer to 60 than she is 50, and she has an OnlyFans. If I showed you, maybe I'll show. Maybe I'll post it to you guys or whatever. She has ass out. She has ass out pictures. I mean, she literally has the whole over the shoulder. You can look at her thong type pictures, and she posts this. Then occasionally she'll post about her grandkids and things like that. And I'm in my head like,
so you're on OnlyFans?
Hell no. I'm saying what she posts on social media, and she uses that to advertise to this OnlyFans. And she wears, I mean, I give her a credit. She works out and all this, and she doesn't look bad for her age. I'll give credit where it's due. It's just that I'm like thinking, you're at an age right now, you still want this attention, And it just blows me away. I'm not saying that she shouldn't take care of herself. I have no problem with that whatsoever. It's all the thirst trapping that she does that I just find beyond pathetic and just sad. It'd be no different than a guy my age counting money or whatever, or in pictures, or doing something goofy like that, It's like, come, or always wearing opulent things where you think, he's got to show you he's got this. It will be just as corny, even if he's an accomplished dude. It's like, come on, we know you got it like that. And I guess what I'm getting at is that and this gets more into the theme of this, she really is attractive. I mean, like I said, she talks about her OnlyFans, and I'm like, really? Now, the funny thing about OnlyFans, I mean, we all know this, but only 15% of the people really genuinely make a lot of money. Okay. Correct. The rest of them, I think the average is between $350 to $500 or what have you, But
is that a month?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
How much a month?
Three for the average is $350 to $500, and it's mainly because it's oversaturated. Okay. Dudes got too many choices or what have you. I personally don't think that the market can sustain it, but I've been proven wrong clearly. If you want to read that one, go ahead. It may go into what I was saying, but I think it was the point about the attention, just how some never outgrow it, and we gotta stop acting like that. A lot of women aren't about this attention, thing, and it's okay, but when it's just too much, it's just too much. Let's see what this comment says, because a lot of women do not. Oh, this goes back to your
yeah.
comment.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Okay. I'm confident.
Well, let's just read it. My girl Ronelli, because a lot of women do not know how to accept a compliment from another woman. I compliment women all the time if they look good or have something on fire. I compliment. Plus, I'm confident in myself, and I am about I'm about loving on my sisters. We drag each other enough.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I was saying.
But that's
a mature mindset. That's a growth mindset.
I concur, but we drag each other enough. Let's look at it like this. If there was no such thing as a beauty standard, and no matter how attractive a woman looks, she wasn't considered to be any more attractive than another female, there would be no need to drag another woman based on that. Women will always say that we don't do this for men, we don't do this for men, but the cattiness comes because at a particular time, women are putting themselves in a hierarchy when it comes to attractiveness. We can slice it any way we want to. Men do the same thing. Peacocks do the same thing. They spread their plumage to exhibit to females that they have the most colorful plumage. We like to try and absolve ourselves of being animals, but we are, no matter how we slice it. The only thing that separates us is we're able to communicate and we have opposable thumbs.
You made a great point. Hold that thought and feel free to jump in on this.
Okay.
The people, both sides, men and women, who really understand this, in my experience, they've not been the most God, I'm drawing a complete blank, and I'm not even drinking today. They're and maybe because I'm trying to think of an assignment tomorrow and got my eye on this game, but no, they're not the most well thought out, most well read. But these motherfuckers know how to read body language like a damn FBI agent. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or they know social cues very well. The thing is, they can't really explain it. I can explain, and I see that within them. And that I just want to bring that up.
Yeah. So when we keep talking about we're not this, we're not that, like Sir Ty said about some people, they look at somebody and they immediately can assess them. They immediately can tell you about them and say the person is this person is that. People say, well, how do you know? It's instinctive. Some people you don't have to teach anything about the opposite gender. It's like a fish. You put them in the water and they swim. This is why when I hear women say certain things, I automatically know where to slide them. And
Like
a lot of women get upset when I make this statement.
Like what?
I know enough about women to where I don't need to know anything else. And people will say, well, you don't know everything about women. I didn't say that. I said I know enough. And this is sometimes where a lot of guys get caught up at. They say, well, I don't know all about her. Well, I don't know all about this. Well, what do you know? And they'll run up a few things. It's like, you're never going to know everything about anyone. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. You can live with an individual for 20 years. You may never know all their idiosyncrasies. You may know the major ones. You may know some of the smaller ones. But you're not going to know all of them. And you're not supposed to. Because at that particular point, you become so consumed with them that you forget about themselves. And this is why a lot of women will end up leaving men and going to another man. They'll say, you know what? He's so preoccupied with me that I could just have him anytime I want to. And that's part of what fosters that road down that path of being a 304, because she'll go from this man to this man to this man, all within the span of 5 years. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but when you're in your mid-20s and you dealt with one man every year, by the time you get to 40, you run up a count of 15 men. Most men don't want to deal with that, whether they know or they don't know. The only time they want to deal with that is if there's going to be some sexual gratification on the end of that. So this is why it becomes important for women to be selective with who they have sex with. I'm not saying you can't date. I encourage women to date. I encourage women to date, go out and make it know that, hey, look,
So
I'm seeing you, I'm seeing this guy, but I'm only sleeping with one. You're not him.
So they're always gonna come back and say, "Oh, we need to be selective." But what about you guys? When about y'all selection choices?
Unfortunately, I'll use the hammering analogy, and I've used this before. People always talk about, oh, that's not fair. Men are hammers, women are nails. Nails are only good for so many uses. After that, you gotta get rid of them. They're no longer designed for what they're.
What kind of bullshit is that? That doesn't even no. That
Okay,
sounds like Herbert logic, not.
Let's get into the esoteric nature of it. Have you ever heard of the womb imprint?
What do you mean?
Have you ever heard of a term called the womb imprint?
Mm-mm.
And that's why it sounds like bullshit. Shout out to Ron Wills and BGS. Men and women alike are imprinted with their first 3 sexual conquests. This is what sets the template for what we are attracted to. So when
You ain't heard about that, Anita.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I just didn't know it was that.
Yeah.
That's what it was called.
Okay.
We have talked about that before.
Okay.
It's
Yeah. You're right.
It's formally called the
right?
love map. It's formally called the love map, but
Okay.
No. I'm not negating it. I'm just simply saying
yeah.
if she wants to look it up, or anybody's listening, that we're not just BSing or whatever. This is some real, and I think it gets a little bit more. It gets a little bit. I would say it's the first 3 people that they had a good well, not 3, but 2. Because they could have a bad imprint also too. So
Right, and that's the thing, and that's what I was just going to say. That's what sets us up for our future. So when you talk to your grandmother, maybe your mother, depending on how many men she was with, she may be able to tell you certain things about some men. She may not be able to tell you certain things about some men because she's never had the experience. So
hold that thought.
Yes.
Hold that thought. So I remember Alan Roger Curry, and this is something he and I knew back in his Blog Talk Radio. We go back like that, right? And one time we were talking about this, and I think the episodes may still be out there, but back in the World War II, men would literally, I'm not saying all men, but it was not uncommon. Men would talk to their I don't know, good friend, somebody they trusted, like, look, I'm going to war, okay? You're okay to take care of her or whatever, just not too much. Now I know that sounds crazy as hell. But
Wow.
but yeah, but they figured I'd rather it be with somebody I know versus just some random person. And hell, I might not come back here alive. So at least, I mean, it's some, you know, we look at those guys and we think we know everything more than them because we have more access to education and all this. And I'm not saying I advocate that by any means, but there was a lot of things that they were considering that we rarely ever talk about. And that's widespread public knowledge. So I just wanted to bring that up. It's kind of, I mean, it blows me away. And there's a term for it. I wish I could look up the term and do more research on this. Women don't generally like one guy and they give fake compliments to each other. That's probably an old comment or whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, so, and let me follow that what Sir Tice was saying, how that was shown in popular culture. How many people remember the movie Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck? That's exactly what happened, what Sir Tice is talking about.
I love that movie.
What Sir Tice talked about has been displayed on the big screen. And this is how we talk. This is what we talk about when we talk about the influence of movie and Hollywood on culture. They showing it to you. They're saying, hey, look, this is okay. This is acceptable. We especially you, Anita, being in the military, we've heard about the Dear John letters, how those men overseas received that information or got word that their wife has been, what is the term? I can't remember the military term for
Committed adultery.
No, for a woman who's ran off with somebody else while the guy
his name is Jody.
Yeah, Jody.
Jody
yeah.
got
yeah.
Jody got your girl.
Yeah. So that
there's a whole cadence about it.
Yeah, there's a path. I mean, no matter where you go, there's some people that go off to colleges as high school sweethearts. They come back. Next thing you know, she done been ran through. Matter of fact,
I'll tell you, say it so nastily like that.
I need to stop.
No, it just
Please
sounds
stop.
so disgusting.
Please stop.
But not being
but
not stripping, but stripping is so uplifting, right?
It sounds better than being ran through.
Plowed. So he was better off saying she got plowed.
No.
John Deered.
Let me.
Okay. How about she had multiple sex partners?
That's too many words.
Don't be lazy now.
Let me put it to you like this: a younger cat that I used to work with, cool dude, from a rural area. And I'm not gonna mention any areas, just an area around here.
Wait a minute. See, that's part of the problem with guys. Some of y'all guys get lazy and complacent, and we don't want you guys. So we have to kick you guys to the curb and go find somebody worthy that's not gonna be lazy. David, don't be lazy. All right, go on.
The young gentleman was engaged with a female, both of them from around the same area. She went off to join the border patrol. She got placed in her assignment, which is the southern border. 3 months later, she broke up the engagement. She met a Jody. Now, by all accounts, she was a good girl. Hadn't been with many men. And all of a sudden, some switch, no pun intended, got flipped. And she got flipped. This is why we talk about those experiences.
And how old was she?
They were in their early 20s.
Okay, well, that explains it.
How does it explain it? I'll let you tell it.
Because, okay, from my perspective,
Mhm.
when you're in your early 20s, especially if you go off to like any kind of training like that, border patrol, military training, whatever, basic training, you're still young. You're still trying to evolve and get to know yourself and what you like and what you don't like in a partner.
I talked about that
So
earlier. The introduction.
if you know, if you understand where you are in your emotional development and developmental psychology, then both people are going to understand there may be a chance this is not going to work. Back in the day, it did work. Back in, my grandma was born in what, 1914, 1913? Yeah, it worked for them. They were both farmers.
Yeah, but that
But do
goes.
you understand why it
It
worked for
doesn't,
them?
it doesn't, well, they needed to have kids to work on the farm.
No, not necessarily that. Let's take the kid
That's what
element.
my grandma told me.
Yeah, no, I'm not negating that. That's true. But the reason why it worked is because there wasn't any options. So
Right.
women had two options. You either become a wife or you become a spinster. If you became a spinster, you became a prostitute. And that was something we talked about earlier. So now that the options are available, women have the option to become a wife, become a single mother, become corporate America, or any other number of professions. So the shackles, if you will, have been removed so she can choose whatever avenue she wants to go down. Most women are choosing the avenue of being single, i.e., Sex in the City, and living their life as they choose on their own terms. That's fine. But and this is what Kevin Samuels used to always talk about nightly on his shows. Is this going to get to a point where you can no longer do that because you're not going to be as attractive? That's just a matter of life. None of us look any better than we did when we were younger.
KS wasn't attractive himself, so I don't really
But Kevin never
care about
prostrated
much that
himself.
he had to say.
Kevin never prostrated himself as being attractive.
He
Kevin
was a
always
hypocrite to
said,
me.
if you listen to his shows,
Yeah, let's
Kevin,
not make it about him. I think
yeah,
the
no,
point still is valid. No, I don't mean you. I
yeah,
mean to Anita. The point he said is valid. I mean, we can't negate Pete. This is one of the problems that many in the group have because they don't like poster X or what have you. They're gonna throw, they're gonna, I get it. Some people are on some BS or whatever. I get it. But you can't you can't negate, damn it, there's an expression for this. But you can't negate if somebody makes a valid point because you don't like the instructor or, oh, this person is this, I mean, yeah, you go ahead, Herb. I'm
I
just
said
saying.
I don't agree with that.
No, what
but
you're
what
saying
Sir
is that,
Tyson's saying is this. You have to
I know
listen,
what he's saying. I heard message was received. Let's move on.
okay.
and
How
this is
about
what Kevin
that?
Samuels was saying, that a lot of women have over leveraged their value to the point that when they do hit their 40s and they turn around and start looking at the landscape, there's nothing there for them. Dennis Farrell, shout out to Uncle D, the Blizzard King, he talks about this, that winter is coming. And for a lot of women, winter is already here. They just don't realize it yet. And what that means is there's nobody to choose from. Nobody's looking for them. So all they have left is to be a 304. And at that
So that
particular point, they talk about, well, where are all the good
That
men
sounds
at?
ridiculous.
so they have to settle for Melvin.
Yes,
Why do they have
Yeah,
to settle for Melvin?
because they
I think
cannot
he's
attract
right when he
anything
says
else.
that.
I don't.
I think they will settle for what you guys call Melvin more than a 304. I mean, or being a 304 because that requires work. But they rather have a piece of something than not
Yeah,
have nothing.
yeah,
Go
because
ahead.
Melvin gonna pull up and he gonna do what's required to stay there.
And you know what? The funny thing is this. I've been doing a lot of walking lately. Walk from my house to the mall, which is roughly about 4 or 5 miles. Trying to get that weight loss in, or weight control, weight loss. And I see a lot of single women. And you see, BGS used to talk about this, and I really didn't clue into it until I actually started to look. And you see that look of defeat on their face, especially if they had young kids in tow. And you see the struggle, you see the meanness, you see the nastiness, you just see it all, and it's just like, you know what? I can't empathize with your children enough that they have to, excuse me, that they have to have you for a mother. You're ornery, you're combative, you have nothing to look forward to except to raising these kids. And after you do that, you're not going to want to be around anyone. You're not going to be good company. Nobody's coming to see you. And when you go out, you're not going to be attractive. You're not going to get compliments from women, and you're not going to get looks from men.
That's
So
a
what's
bleak
left?
picture.
That's what a lot of women are facing because they haven't partnered up. And understand something. I'm not saying partner up saves you, but it does give you something to look forward to. So when this time of the year rolls around, you're not by yourself because this is the highest time of the year. I'm sorry, this is the highest rate of the year where suicides occur.
Yeah, it's just a crazy time of year, and all throughout, people, and I guess like, why the hell get caught up in this shit? The holiday season and all that. But a lot of folks can't handle this time of year, whether they lost loved ones or whatever the case is, and the season's supposed to be festive and all that. People be wilding out during this time.
Yeah,
There's more
hopefully there's a
crime,
good.
criminal shit
Yeah,
going on.
yeah. Well, it's funny that you said that because I'm dealing with one of my best friends passed away a week ago, and I actually got to
Yeah,
fly up for his
yeah.
services, and I'm thinking about his wife. I hope she doesn't. Wow, I
Mm,
doubt that, but I'm thinking about that. But I'm also thinking about, like you said, about the. I wasn't considering that, but about the deaths. And this is how people look at their family. Their kids are older, or they don't
mhm,
have kids, and this.
mhm.
But what I was going to bring this back home on was, and I blame social media one part for this. I think the problem is like lonely people tend to not have hobbies,
Mhm,
not have interests,
mhm,
and are not active.
mhm.
And it's like they're doing it to themselves. Whereas, like I was telling this one young lady, I said, wait a minute, and you're a sports fan. Oh my God, just go out during the games. You're gonna come across somebody at least, or at the bare
Hmm,
minimum, you'll
hmm.
just meet some new people to have a conversation with. And it took
Mhm.
me, huh?
I said that's true because I do like going to the sports bars when the game is on.
Right, and like I'm sure up there, this Buffalo. Wait a minute, it's 15-15. Oh wow. Anyways,
Come on, stay
sorry.
with
Yeah,
us. Stick with
Yeah, I
us.
am.
Come
I
on.
am. I am. But I wasn't really looking at the score. I was just
yeah.
been
They
looking at
might
the
they might
action.
eke
It's
this
it's
one
it's
out.
yeah. No, it's rare that a score like that and they were able to match it. But moving on, yeah.
Moving
I
right
mean,
along.
we have
Moving
to.
right along.
No, they
No,
just
no.
fucking
I'm
fumbled
saying
the
it. But
ball. They so
we
they
have to
stupid.
realize.
Oh.
We have to realize like there's some expression of body in motion stays in motion, something
Yeah,
like that. I think you
third law
got
of
to get.
physics.
You have to move, keep working on things and projects. I wasn't drinking for like a point of, I don't know, 2.5, 3 months or whatever, right?
Conversation make me want to drink. Go on.
I know. So and I got so much stuff done that I didn't realize your stuff that I've been procrastinating about. Wrote some letters, got some files taken care of, things like that. And my point is that a lot of people put themselves in these situations. And I guess the overall thing is like, okay, social media is going to reinforce what you don't have, generally speaking, especially on the things that many people click. That's why I say it's more important for people to click on their interests, even if it's a childhood interest or something like that. There's probably groups for where they'll show like old toys that remind you of things, or things whatever that you like. But if you get out of that, you'll get caught up in this celebrity nonsense. You'll get caught up in these goofy relationship topics that are just like, oh my God. And I'll just end on this. I swear to God, how do people have all these times for these relationship skits? it's like get a goddamn job, motherfucker. It's Christmas, so nobody can claim about not having a job. Y'all trying to go so viral with these horrible acted scripts, you know.
I'm at the point now where I skip them. Shout out to Nameless hosts. Yeah, I'm at the
Shout
point
out
now
Nameless, long time no see.
Yeah, I don't even the skits now. I don't even do it. And I want to mention something else. Shout out to Obsidian, Mamiya Ali. He did a podcast. It's about 3 hours long, and I can't remember the young woman's name. Paradise something. I'm gonna go dig that up and drop that link in the counselor's corner, and I'll try and drop it in this chat. Skip through the interview or the podcast to her interview, and I want you guys to pay attention to how she's breaking down a lot of this stuff. And she's breaking it down from a female's perspective so that guys can understand certain things. And it has to do with the skits and all these women claiming to want a specific type of man and understand what it is that she's getting at and she's teaching. I just wanted to put that in there because there's a lot of people think that, you know, when David and I sit down and we do these podcasts, that we're shooting from the hip. And I will tell you now, for every show, I do at least an hour's worth of background research. I come with notes. I come with facts and figures and names. I don't pull this stuff up, you know. And like we always say, we are not subject matter experts. We want people to know. We want people to understand that. So when we discuss these things, especially stuff of this magnitude, we encourage people to come to the chat, come up on the panel. We, as you can see, we don't attack people. We give people fair opportunity to speak. We let people voice their opinions and whatever else that's said. And we have a dialogue because we understand that this is the best way for information to get out to individual people for discussion. That's all we're in for, is for the discussion. Wherever you stand on the discussion, that's where you just stand on the discussion. But we're all in this, to try and foster some growth.
And the bottom line is you gotta talk about this stuff. You just can't talk about it with 3 or 4 of your friends because you're gonna get the same results every time. Those opinions not gonna change. Whatever. Sometimes you have to hear different people say different things, and like, damn, I never thought about that. That never even came across my mind because we're so subject to dealing with the same individuals. But until you blossom and spread your wings and hear other alternatives, and those alternatives make you feel uncomfortable, but that's when you grow. And we talk about growth. Growth is gonna make you uncomfortable. If you feel like you live in perfect and there's nothing wrong, you have no desire to grow. And we all need to grow in some areas.
Okay, you said everything. I agree with you and what you said. I don't, man. You just brought up another complicated thing, and me and the homie were talking about this watching football yesterday. Because
wait a minute, I have a question. So, who's gonna win, Minnesota or OSU on the 18th?
You mean Minnesota, the college?
Yeah.
I have OSU there. You must have a bet. So, so no, it was something. Damn it, you just distracted. Oh yeah, no, we were talking. I said, dude, it's hard to meet people now because if this chick she's not batshit crazy, she probably smokes a shit ton of weed. Nowadays.
Where do you go to meet women?
You're right. You say that one more time.
Where do you go to meet women?
Well, I'm just out and about or what have you, So I don't go to specific places. But if you want to my successes tend to be like birthday parties or personal get together. You want to put it.
Those are the best spots.
right? Where somebody can vouch for you also.
Mhm.
But no, I was just talking about just in general. I'm like, dude, like there's a bar I go to, and then now, I'll go after the games, and I wasn't even drinking yesterday, and I just said, let me go to here. Plus, I can collect a bet. So I made a mark, and they let you smoke in there now because the laws are really laxed. And everyone who I thought was even remotely attractive, I'm like, weed head. Nope. Nope. And I'm not trying to, I mean, if they want to do that, that's cool. I'm not going to do that. It's just that they're not the most motivated people.
It's true.
Oh, here's why I was saying that. We have to factor in that drugs, not just weed, but a lot of these people are taking drugs. Okay, from prescriptions to the party drugs or whatever, right? That is a factor out here. They'll never admit that, but I've seen enough to see these things. So it was something you had said, Dave, that triggered that whole thought to me. Oh, what I was saying is that you're not always dealing with the most stable-minded individual.
It's true.
There can oh yeah. So I know what you said. You said about something about if they're feeling happy, then they're not motivated to do anything else. And I'm like, there's something else involved why they may, or they can get their temporary fix from these things, look at the dating sites or whatever. Look at how many people are looking at my pictures and stuff like that. I'm not going to talk to these guys, because for a lot of them, that's what the dating sites are. It's just, places for attention, not for looking, which is why I think most guys should get off of these dating sites. But that's another topic entirely.
Those are facts. And a lot of women, they get brand new attitudes. Guys too, when they get likes and stuff like that. And that like, you weren't hitting on shit. Well, all of a sudden your attitude changed because you threw on some eyelashes, a little foundation or whatever the case is. You posted up and you seen guys like, damn.
No, you forgot.
I didn't view her like.
Most guys could care less about them goofy eyelashes.
Yeah, well, no. I wasn't. I understand that. I think it's the women that haven't been out there on the scene. Then all of a sudden they want to get out there and they like, damn, who is that? Oh shit! Like, damn.
Well, I was gonna say they unfasten a couple buttons. That's.
But yeah, as far as the eyelash and all that shit is trash. Whatever. Just throw it away. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of money.
They look
for
like
real.
Snuffleupagus.
Yeah.
All of that stuff.
Phony. Oh.
All of that shit.
True.
Just be who you are, like for real. Because sooner or later, your mind and the chemistry will be stronger than those appearances where you paying all these people this money to, because eventually y'all look the fucking same. You go to the same people for makeup and all that. Y'all start looking alike. Yeah. And the reason why I can say this, I asked one of my students, one of my favorite students now, I said, who is the best dressed, like in the 7th, 8th grade, and all that stuff. She even went into staff. I knew she was going to lean toward the one guy, whatever, because he dressed younger. So she was like, oh, no doubt him. But I was like, far as the kids, she was like, I don't know. Like, I can't even say. I said, and I didn't cuss or anything, but I want to say, you know why you don't know? Because y'all fucking look alike. Y'all dress and do the same thing alike. No one steps out the boundaries like, I ain't trying to look like that. I'm not trying to have the cruddy, the nappy bush, and all that stuff. I'm trying to get a low haircut, had a waist dipping. I'm trying to be a little preppy, wear a button-down shirt or something like that. Wear different type of shoes, some wallabies or whatever. My dad put me on to this or whatever the case is. Everybody wants to look alike. So you're walking around a bunch of people that look alike, and this is the This is the dating pool. You're dating like, damn, he's just like the last person I was with. Step out the box, man. You gotta read the room and say, I do not want to look like these people. I gotta find another way. Yeah, that's it.
So if you guys are saying like women and 304, can that apply to men too?
Sure.
Or is the term 304 not interchangeable?
You can apply a lot of things to men. The difference is, and let's take this from a female perspective.
I think that it can apply, but it's very rare for men to be like. I mean, you're gonna have poon hounds or whatever you call them, right? You know, you're gonna have those guys, but that's gonna be a lesser.
That was a nice way to put it.
Well, that's what they are. You're gonna have those those guys. I mean, those are your guys who go to your titty bars and things like that, you know, frequently. Even though those women are disgusted by them overall, you know. Overall, I would probably say less than 25% of guys are players.
Yeah.
And that's pushing it.
Right.
That's pushing it, you know. So can it? Literally, yes. Does it mostly? No.
Yeah, it's you have to think about, look at it in this terms. You have to look at the qualities that are universally desired, wanted, and accepted across a broad spectrum of women. Most men can't get to half of them, let alone all of them. And it's just like Sir Tice said, that's applicable to a very small amount of men. And what happens is, because women consistently deal with those men, they extrapolate that out to meaning all of the male population. And if that is true, then we wouldn't have terms like incel. We wouldn't have a growing population of men who haven't had sex in over a year. Essentially, the virgin population of men is rising. Conversely, for women, it's dropping. So this is why it's hard to attach that and have that stick to men more so than women. We already know that it requires absolutely nothing for a female to go out and have sex. All she has to do is appear, regardless of how attractive or unattractive she is. That's just the nature. Men are pursuers. Women, generally for the most part, are not. So a female goes sits at the end of the bar, she looks reasonable. Men buy her drinks.
Yeah.
She selects someone she wants to go home with, and that's it. The song "Closing Time" is a perfect example of that. Hope you found someone to take you home. It's the songs are replete with it. Movies are replete with it. The military. Every aspect of life is. There's no hiding from it.
It's definitely easier for women if they wanted to have sex. They can probably call up someone from their past, and they'll be right over there. Guys don't have that option. If they resort to that, that they're just going through trying to find some, they kind of lost their mojo. They kind of lost it. That they had to resort to that, because guys that still relevant or still whatever, hey, if they get on the horn or whatever the case is, they can make something happen. So it's easier for women, and it don't matter shape, size, form, or whatever the case is. That it did, because social media puts stuff out there that you can't say, oh, she's fat or whatever the case is, because images and stuff like that, some guys, they're into that. So you don't have that option. Now I don't know how many women will say when you have a guy that's obese or whatever, say, "Damn, he's fine as shit." Like, damn. Oh, I love to hit that. Or you're not gonna hear that.
I mean, you may not necessarily hear exactly that, but I'll use the Joe Levert example or what have you. But granted, he's a famous archetype. You'll have, in fact, one of my homies. He used to be a big fella, and he's lost a ton of weight now, but he was never at a loss, which kind of blew me away, And he wasn't some, dude who had a shit ton of money or anything like that, So it varies. I was just, saying that exact number because you had mentioned Herb about the incel thing, and I hate how that term is being used and bastardized in social media. That will probably be 25-30% tops. Then you have your guys in the middle. I mean, it's the same Pareto principle. You have your outliers,
Yep.
then you have everybody in the middle.
It's true. That's true.
Mhm.
So it's a
This
lot
guy
going
says,
on.
or I don't know, guy, girl, the nameless.
Nameless
Men
is a
who are
male.
more sexually experienced are seen as being more valued amongst other women
Mhm.
than dudes who aren't. I don't
Mhm.
agree with that.
Well, let's ask you the question. If you had to have sex with a man who's a virgin or a man who had slept with 100 women, who are you going to choose?
The virgin.
Okay. You're not lying.
Inverse that women who are more sexually experienced just are not seen as wanted.
And that was something we talked about earlier. You brought
I
that
mean,
point up.
I agree with his points.
I could have learned everything that I know sexually from one man. You
Yes.
don't know.
Yes. But this is the caveat. You're only going to know how to please that one man. See, people have the mistake of thinking that everybody likes sex the same.
You're right.
And that's the biggest mistake that anybody can make. This is why somebody who's a strumpet can please many different men.
Somebody that's what?
A strumpet, a paid strumpet can please many different men because she understands that each man is different. Each man likes to be stroked differently. Each man likes to be loved differently. Some men like it this way, some men like it that way. Some men want it this way, some men want it that way. This is why dominatrixes are in business. They understand, and BGS talks about this. When he talks about I can't remember what he calls it. When he talks about the black pill in terms of women working in the sex industry, they see men for what they are, and it's not until the average rank and file person gets some experience under the belt from having dealt with enough people of the opposite gender or the same gender, if you will, and they say, you know what? Now I understand. Go ahead.
No, you finish.
And you have to either have gained a lot of experience through various people, or you have had to live a long time to get that experience.
Yeah, to that point, it blows me away. But that whole dominatrix thing, that's dominated by judges, lawyers, people who have, for whatever reason, when I say powerful position, things that can kind of change someone's life instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because I know some dominatrix or whatever, and after most of their clients are these professionals who a person not in the know would not expect these people to go to these services. They have to be, they have to be in this powerful position nowadays. You're not nowadays. They have to be in this powerful position throughout the day. That's their form of a release, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy as hell, but it's an interesting dynamic,
That's what I was told by this guy that wanted to date me, but he what's that term? Cuckold. like he wanted to pay for dinner, but he wanted me to be with another man while he's there watching us eat.
But you don't qualify for
Okay.
that because you're not married. You have to be married in order to do that. In
No.
order for the term to fit.
Okay, well, whatever term you want to use that fits that scenario. And I asked him, like, why would you want to, like, pick us up in a limo? And it was just like weird to me. And he said,
Yo, it is weird.
but he said he was a CEO and he was in charge of everything all day long and had all this pressure, and he just wanted to relax and be in some relaxing company where he didn't have to be in charge. He could have somebody else in charge and tell him what to do.
The movie True Lies touched on that, and I always thought that was a funny part of that movie where Jamie Lee Curtis was portraying the stripper.
Oh yeah,
That's it.
I thought that
Always,
was
because I think Jamie Lee Curtis is and she's on the list of sex symbols. I always thought that was a funny part of that movie. Like I said, all this stuff.
Jamie Lee Curtis from Halloween.
I don't know if she played on Halloween.
Yeah, that was her first movie.
Okay.
Oh, David, you telling your age. That's the
Don't give a
old.
fuck and tell my age. I can't hide. I ain't trying to hide my age.
I'm trying to hide it. Okay.
No, I'm not trying to. It's what it is.
Like I said,
It
man,
is what it is.
Good.
all this stuff comes full circle with you. Because think about it. The women that were watching, the Bewitches, the I Dream of Genies, the 70s sitcoms, they turned out to be the mothers who are rearing their daughters. And the women of the children of the 70s are the actual first tier of true feminists. In other words, when I say true feminists, I mean the ones who were born into the ability to select being a housewife, a stay-at-home mother, or a combination of the two, or just single for life, just out here living the Sex and the City lifestyle. So, while we're charting in kind of quasi unfamiliar territory, every day we're learning more. But this is only going to go on so long before society has to revert back to what we started from, because the society is collapsing and people may not see it.
Yeah. Good evening to you, Nameless. I'll piggyback on that one.
Well,
Listen,
before you piggyback, I have to say goodnight because me and Buddy have to work early tomorrow.
Yes,
We have an
absolutely.
event,
have a good evening.
conference, a meeting, the whole day.
Have a good evening.
All right, Anita.
Bye.
Sleep well.
Yeah.
I gotta let
should
him
have
out
heard-
too.
She should have heard this, but it's like the people got to understand is without these protections, women don't want this wild west. Okay.
Without what
They be-
protections? Wait,
Le-
what Wild
le-
Wild West?
legal police. You don't want to be out here unprotected or what have you. Right now, you're able, not you specifically, but women are able to live this 304 lifestyle. There's a lot of Captain Save a Hoe type men or whatever and all this. There's legal ramifications. But if it's like it was back in the day, or when we go through a form of martial law or things like I said somebody, you don't want prostitution to become legal. They said, why? I said, because that'll be gone for most of your social programs.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell you, oh, you go lay in your back or whatever, right? So men have cultivated this environment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, men have cultivated this environment for you guys shenanigans, and y'all don't get that.
That is right. Because some of these programs, shit, the confidence will go down.
Well, it would force them to choose a man.
Yeah.
But for protection or to be protected, you know. And they could tell me that they have all these guns and all that. I'm not just talking about that or whatever, right? It could be, listen, be very careful. And we are nearing those times, by the way, especially in this era of dudes.
All over the place.
Yeah. Especially in this.
Good night, Anita.
Yeah.
I ain't got
Especially
time
in
to
this
figure out how
era.
to leave that thing.
Especially in this era of I don't know, she just distracted me. It was I was gonna say dudes just something's happening, assault's happening, they're just looking over. I'm not jumping into that.
Right.
That's assault. Now, like I said, I'm not gonna jump into everything. I'll choose situations I would, but listen, I don't think they really get it. I'll tell you this. It's like a cocky stripper who thinks everything is going to be glamorous and all that stuff. And every dude is a simp until she finds one of those dudes who is, going to be like the dude in Players Club, follow him home, be the stalker, all this. Then they realize, oh, this is real. It ain't all peaches out here.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
All right.
You done?
No, I had to get some clothes on.
Well, we gonna get ready to close this out. This has been a very informative. A lot going on with this conversation. And before we came on, her was like, this whole thing we could ride out for the rest of the year because there's so many layers to all of this. But again, a lot of people, the only development they get is through Facebook, TikTok, and all of that stuff to know what's current or what's going on. If you're not paying attention to certain things, certain podcasts, reading books or whatever, you're gonna always be behind the scene, clueless. Everything you get gonna be a little 1 minute TikTok snapshot of everything, and that's your professional development, and that's where a lot of people are. That's their mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Got to do better than that. You got to go deeper. A lot of people are going half-assed with shit.
Yep. Indeed.
Wow. This game is going crazy. All right, y'all. I agree with you. You fellas have a good night.
All right, man.
You too, bro. Thanks for joining.
No doubt.
Yeah, this game is like Buffalo. They just love to struggle. They love to struggle.
What's the score? I've been listening to it and watching it.
It's 21-15 Denver with 3:40 left, but Buffalo marching down the field. Obviously, if they could score and kick the extra point, they'll be up. But yeah, you just can't trust Josh Allen, whatever, not trying to be superhero and throw an interception or somebody fumbling. That shit, it's scary. But as I got older, I kind of fell back on sports. Like, especially, I love boxing and stuff like that. Buffalo, they probably gonna get in the end zone. I love boxing, football and basketball. It's just too much, too much heartache and pain.
I'm a Sixer fan, so I can identify with the. I'm a Dallas fan too. Hell, so I can identify. I'm a Yankee fan too, so I'm a Sabres fan, so I can identify with all of that stuff. So, yeah. I'm just trying to ride the wave, and my boys, Michigan, they in the hot seat now for sign stealing. And you know what the funny thing about sign stealing is this? In football, the only signs you should be able to steal are defensive signs, and that really don't matter because you call on the plays before you realize what defense is being signaled in any damn way. Offensively, everything is supposed to be sent in through an earpiece. So I don't know how the hell D1 coaches, D1 AA coaches actually are still using hand signals. Quarterbacks got a list of plays on their arm. They flap up. That's what you see on their arms are plays, audibles, and everything. I don't know how you do it.
Sound like they just want Harbaugh. They don't want him out the college ranks. They need to go back to the NFL. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm at the point. I haven't watched the Michigan game this season only because I know what they're coming up against. I'll probably watch the Ohio State Michigan game, obviously, because that's, as far as the seeding goes in the playoff format, that's going to have huge implications. So, and I see Georgia's, they doing their own thing. Bama is trying to get back in there. I think Bama is going to be a tough out just because of their name, and Saban's going to have them boys prepared because Saban is not accustomed to losing.
This probably the year they probably get in. They play in their conference SEC against Georgia and probably beat them or whatever. It's probably when you don't expect it. So it's a wild time in sports, people. It's a wild time in life. And you've seen this show, whatever. If you paid attention, some of you may say, wow, do people really think like that? We don't make this stuff up. This stuff is out there or whatever. Again, like I just said, you can't base nothing on a TikTok video and all that. You got to do research. You got to be aware of what's going on in your surroundings and stuff. Because a lot of times you're clueless. You're shocked. And even certain things, I can't say I'm well informed on everything. I learned a lot of stuff from my middle school kids. Like, what the hell y'all talking about? And they'll tell you. They'll say, you know what that, Mr. Glover, you know what this mean? You know what that mean? No, what do it mean? Then you look it up like, oh, okay. So pay attention to your kids. Pay attention to others. Some of y'all still reading the fucking newspaper and all that shit. And that's y'all end all be all to what's going on in the world. Venture off into other people's pages. Some of y'all still are. And I'm just going to say, because I'm from there. Everybody you know is from Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Somebody from somewhere else sees something, you post it from somewhere else. I don't know them. They live out in California. I'm not requesting them. I'm not accepting this.
Yeah.
Open up. I ain't saying accept everybody, but venture off, see mutual friends or see what they doing and say, okay, they look legit, whatever. I mean, you're not going to get any change unless you open up to different possibilities. And I think that's where we at with a lot of things. Okay, Josh Allen just scored, but it's a lot. It's a lot going on, and we're in these times right now when you hit November and December where people get real shady. And we say this message every year. Be careful. Don't travel out alone. With the daylight saving, whatever the case is, it get dark early as hell,
Yep.
5 o'clock, 5:30. Protect yourself because people, we're in different times. Know how I know we're in different times? As far as financially, like, again, I talked about this before. This is the time you get parents calling, are y'all helping with Christmas, Thanksgiving? And I'm like, I'll take your name down. But prior to this, years before, we would have churches and other organizations like, we want to know if y'all got any families in assistance. I haven't heard shit from nobody. So the reality is that some people may be faced with their kids not being able to open up shit. And with those times become desperate situations for people. So I'm saying for women, make sure that you just don't decide, oh, I got to run out, whatever, and you by yourself. Try to make sure you have someone. Monitor your kids. What's going on? Guys, you can get it too. Pay attention. Be mindful. Pay attention to your surroundings. As far as getting in your car, getting out. So it's just that time of year. And we don't like to paint a dark picture or bleak picture, but what we try to do is shit that we know, like, that's reality. And a lot of times people want to be in a fairy tale land, and this ain't that time for that. So those is pretty much my words that I gotta say. Herb, you got any closing comments? You gotta expect that it's gonna be 3 or 4 clips that come through from this broadcast. That's what I've been getting into. Just capturing those moments, and then again, like Herb said with the last show, a couple shows ago, that sometimes that 1 minute had people all up in the uproar. It was about availability with a woman with a vehicle, girl with a vehicle. I ain't do all that. I've been driving since I was 16. Please stop. You know damn well if you had a car and you ain't got nowhere to go, y'all getting it in that back seat. For real.
There's a particular reason why older model cars, the back seat was called the rumble seat. I don't make this stuff up. I just bring it to you. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's a dog eat dog world out here. So if you ain't knuckling up, guarding your grill, expect somebody to take a shot. Male, female, like David said, anybody at any time, become a victim. The best way to not become a victim is to be vigilant. Be vigilant with, like David said, be vigilant with yourself, with your kids, with your mate. Be vigilant with your heart. Be vigilant with your mind. Be vigilant with your money and your feelings. Don't let anybody trample over them. If you think somebody's doing something foul, hey, let them know. Hey, look, those are my toes you're stepping on. Get off them. Don't do it again. And be willing to carry and follow through. You don't have to make threats. Let people know. And then just follow through. People might call you mean. They may make disparaging statements, but you should never let anybody trample on your peace of mind. That's where you live. I refuse to, and I'm not going to expect anyone else to. That's just how I live. I'd rather be in this big ass house, quiet, 3 cats, very few gray hairs. Even though I'll be 52 next month, I've been blessed. Despite all the trials and tribulations.
Herb, your ass probably got gray hairs. You just cut them off. I refuse to believe.
Right there.
Okay.
Very few. I used to pluck them though. I used to pluck them in my hair, not my beard, because I think for a man to have gray hairs in his beard is a sign of wisdom. But that's just my thing. But in my hair, yeah, because I can't do nothing about the receding hairline. I'm not Stephen A. I still got.
You just gotta let it go. You just gotta be bald.
But as always, when we bring this type of show to you, what I say in my closing is very apropos. Growth and understanding occurs in the gray area. Godspeed. See you next time.
And we will. We'll see you next time. Make sure. Haven't came up with too many themes in the counselor's corner after my 10 original themes came. So I'll take suggestions at that point, themes of the week. But I haven't really developed that. So right now I don't want to say lost the momentum, but some people say you've lost the momentum because you were doing good with the themes, but I got 10 core themes that I've used with all my books, whatever. So if it's a hot pressing topic that you think we can roll with for a week, please inbox myself or Herb with those themes, and so we can ride it out, because it kind of regulate the same old bull crap posts, whatever. And the whole thing is to try to dig deeper and find content that's related to those themes and open up conversations. And even if it's themes that personal themes that you can we can put out there, I think those is valuable. Even like earlier when we started, like your first job and different things like that, when people was posting, because it let people know you're transparent, and it also is networking. That if you're in that field, or you might have a child in that field, now you know somebody that's in that area that possibly could help them out. The whole thing is us for us to grow and try to build and develop relationships to we can get it and we can do big things. But with that said, people, we out. Thanks for everybody who was tuned in, for Sir Tice, Officer Charles that came in, people in the chat, Dr. Anwar, and all of the rest of the folks. Appreciate you all. Please like and share the video. Please subscribe to the channel, The Controversial Counselor. Let's just keep building and have these conversations. Only way we gonna grow is you're gonna feel uncomfortable. That's what we gonna do here. That's what we gonna do here. All right, good people. We out. See you next time. Peace.
All right, people.